Hello everyone. I'm happy to share with you some information on our 2019 sugar beet study focused on nitrogen and irrigation water use. The study is in collaboration with Dr. Sana Shafian. She's our precision agriculture specialist in Moscow, Idaho. And the work is supported by the Idaho sugar beet growers, Snake River Sugar Beet Research and Seed Alliance, as well as the Amalgamated Sugar Company. Our main objectives were to analyze the effects of water and nitrogen fertilizer rates on sugar beet yield and quality, as well as to explore the potential of using aerial-based, UAV-based data for sugar beet nitrogen and water content monitoring. We also, in the study, wanted to assess the feasibility of predicting sugar beet root yield, as well as recoverable sugar using UAV-based sensors. And also, we conducted extension outreach focused on water and nutrient management in sugar beets, remote sensing, and using UAVs for crop monitoring. So to explain a little bit about the study, the trial was conducted at the University of Idaho Parma Research and Extension Center. We only used one variety because this is just an initial work, and we're hoping to include at least 2-3 varieties in our expanded study planned for next year. We used the typical planting date and row spacing and seed spacing. We had 4 rows in each plot. The plots were 40 foot long at planting, then they were trimmed prior to harvest. We had 6 replications for each treatment. The previous crop was corn, and the plots were irrigated with subsurface drip irrigation system. Here are some of the pictures showing sugar beet planting, our irrigation system, and the collection of biomass samples in season. As an introduction, sugar beet production profitability is based on maximizing these 3 parameters: beet yield, sucrose content, and sucrose recovery efficiency. So efficient nitrogen and water management are key for successful sugar beet production in general. Nitrogen deficit in the soil can reduce root and sugar yield. So over-application of nitrogen can reduce sucrose content and increase nitrate impurities, which in turn lower sucrose recovery. Application of nitrogen in excess of sugar beet needs may lead to vigorous canopy growth, but it can compromise root development as well as sugar production. In our recent research in Idaho showed that about 60% of all evaluated sugar beet fields application of nitrogen did not increase sucrose yield. So this may suggest that residual soil nitrogen from past applications and the in-season nitrogen mineralization provided adequate nitrogen for sugar beet growth, and indicates that growers could maximize sugar yield and save money by applying less nitrogen. Appropriate irrigation amount and timing can optimize sugar beet yield, and it should be minimizing disease pressure, can lower water and energy costs, and it can also minimize nitrogen leaching. Excessive irrigation, on the other hand, can increase sugar beet root yield, but at the same time typically lowers the sugar content. And of course, the remote sensing is a very promising tool for in-season nitrogen and water management, as well as for in-season prediction of yield and quality, which in turn can improve the economic returns to sugar beet growers and processors. We had a very well attended crops, soils, and technology field day last June. We showcased this trial and we explained the sensor-based part of this work. And we also had a drone demonstration. And unfortunately, this year our field day had to be canceled this summer. I wanted to also share with you that we publish our research updates on the webpage, the Idaho Crops and Soils blog, and this is part of our web-based extension outreach, as well as helps with accountability for the funding institutions. So far, we've had visitors from 106 countries and every single state in the United States. For our nitrogen treatments, we had 3 nitrogen rates, 100, 200, and 300 pounds of nitrogen per acre. Nitrogen was applied as urea at planting. And it is difficult to find fields that are very low in residual soil nitrogen. So we had 116 pounds of nitrogen per acre pre-plant. So therefore, our 100 pounds per acre rate was actually 116. For our water treatments, we used a water scheduler developed by a team of irrigation engineers from the University of Idaho and the Washington State University. And this schedule is based on the evapotranspiration values obtained daily using the AgriMet weather station located in Parma, Idaho. So the daily reference grass-based ET was then adjusted using the sugar beet crop coefficients to make the irrigation decisions. And we imposed 2 water levels, 100% and 50%. And the irrigation water was applied using the subsurface drip irrigation system, and the tape was buried down to 7 inches. We utilized the Matrix 100, the unmanned aerial vehicle, or UAS, or drone, which was equipped with the Red Edge camera. And the camera has a capability to collect spectral reflectance in blue, green, red, near-infrared, and red edge wavelengths. And the drone data were analyzed using the MicaSense Atlas software and then the Pix4D image analysis software. And today I'd like to share some of the results for the biomass, sugar beet root yield, and ERS, which is the estimated recoverable sugar data. This image shows the plant stand differences between the low water, low nitrogen treatment, which is on the left, versus the high water, high nitrogen treatment on the right. This is a UAV derived image, and the orthomosaic UAV image is basically composed of multiple images which are stitched together, and it is properly scaled and geographically correct. The relationship between reflected, absorbed, and transmitted energy is used to determine spectral signatures of plants, and this is illustrated on the left image. The right image shows how the normalized difference vegetation index, or NDVI, compares the reflectance values of red and near-infrared regions of electromagnetic spectrum between healthy vegetation and stress vegetation, where healthy vegetation is typically associated with a higher absorption of red and reflectance of near-infrared light. And so you can see in this case we have stressed sugar beets and that have higher reflectance in the visible region, and on the other hand there is a reversed pattern for stressed sugar beets in the non-visible range. Here's what we've seen in terms of the UAV spectral indices. NDVI specifically in this case, and the sugar beet biomass. The graph on the left shows the relationship between sugar beet plant height and NDVI measured in June, and then the figure on the right shows the relationship of the sugar beet biomass dry weight and NDVI also measured in June. And previous work has shown that plant height and biomass weight are plant characteristics directly related to light interception and as well as spectral reflectance. So in our trial, a strong positive linear correlation of NDVI with sugar beet plant height and biomass weight were observed in 2019. For the UAV spectral indices and the sugar beet leaf nitrogen content, previous work showed that sensor readings were strongly related to the sugar beet total nitrogen content at all sites and nitrogen rates. And in our study, all indices were equally well correlated with sugar beet leaf nitrogen content. So we are showing here blue, green, red, near-infrared, NDVI, and red edge-based indices and their correlation with leaf nitrogen measured in June in this case, and similar data was collected in July as well, similar results. What we're also seeing is that as leaf nitrogen content increases, the reflectance in red region goes down and near-infrared goes up. For the sugar beet root yield results, the 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre in combination with 100% applied water maximized sugar beet root yield in our study, and then increasing nitrogen to 300 pounds of nitrogen per acre did not increase yield any further. And then also what we found is that 100% water significantly increased sugar beet yield compared to 50% applied water, which is not surprising. The next step is now to evaluate different water rates in the future. Then these graphs show the relationship between sugar beet root yield and NDVI values obtained early in the season in June, which is shown on the left, and later in season or in July, shown in the right figure. So the sugar beet yield estimation accuracy is increasing as we expect it to happen between early season to late season as the growing season progresses and sugar beet plants develop. And in our study, the yield was estimated with 65% accuracy using June data, and the accuracy then goes up for the July data to 88%. Finally, for our estimated recoverable sugar, or ERS results, 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre in combination with 100% water maximized the ERS, and then increasing nitrogen further did not increase ERS. Just like with sugar beet root yield, the 100% water had significantly greater ERS compared to 50% water. And here's the relationship between the estimated recoverable sugar and NDVI. Again, the June data is on the left and the July data is on the right. And just as with the sugar beet root yield, the estimation accuracy goes up from 75 to over 90% between June to July. So our results agree with previous work by Bu et al. In 2015, where they found that using the handheld sensors at 12 to 14 leaves resulted in stronger relationship to sugar beet root yield and estimated recoverable sugar compared to readings collected at 6 to 8 leaves growth stage. To summarize our 2019 results, what we've seen was that 100% water treatment resulted in significantly greater yield and estimated recoverable sugar compared to 50% water. And the future work, we would like to evaluate whether we could cut down water amount by 20 or 25% at least. And then for sugar beet biomass, what we've seen is that all spectral indices we evaluated performed equally well, and all of the indices we looked at were excellent estimators of both plant height and leaf nitrogen content, and yield and estimated recoverable sugar should have similar trends as well. And then accuracy of yield and ERS prediction from UAV spectral indices improves substantially from June to July, so relationship becomes linear also later in season. And the overall conclusions from this initial work is that yes, UAV-based data can be successfully used to estimate sugar beet root yield and quality, in this case estimated recoverable sugar in season. And this experiment was repeated in 2020, and we are analyzing the results.